Look at that feather.
You want it?
No, it's fine. Let it go. Let it go.
I can grab it right.
No, let it go.
Go ahead.
No, let it go.
I just barely caught him like you.
Oh my God.
Let it dry or head.
Mm.
Video.
Whoa, this is a cool. Oh, are we recording?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
Oh, cool.
it's fine.
Whoa. Okay, first of all, this feather is really beautiful. Even though it's a little wet, you can see it. But yeah. That's adorable. Okay. All right. I'm gonna put this right here. Okay. So the closed loop system. All right. So whenever we were going through the meditation, like this idea of abundance, how it's all around us, right? Everywhere. In one aspect, like you can take a look at nature and you can see all of the trees, the water flowing, and the animals. A person can realize that nature is always replenishing itself, right? Even, we can say in times of drought, right? Where the water always comes back because it doesn't ever go anywhere, right? So abundance and that concept of abundance is the same way, where it's unlimited and it exists infinitely within the field, all around us, just like it does in nature. So we're not aware of it because as people, when we're not tapped in, tuned in to ourselves, what we can create, what we can resonate with, it seems that it is a finite resource. When really, if you think of abundance, it's abundant because it's ever expanding. It doesn't ever go away, or it's not limited. The limitations of abundance are what a person puts their mind, the limitations that they have in their mind on what abundance can mean, can look like for them. First, the question becomes, or at least for me it was, how can I quiet my mind enough to even experience, sense what is out there? Getting curious about what is out there. Because I don't know about you, but I didn't grow up with the concept of there's enough for everyone. I think that holds true, I think, for a lot of people, where they may feel or have been told you have to fight for what you earn, really work hard, sometimes even to almost a violent social extreme of do anything that you can to put yourself ahead of somebody else, because if not your spot, someone else will get your spot. But how can that be true if, again, in this concept of abundance is out there? Then there has to be something that, as maybe people, are we not holding that, like holding that vision? So in the meditation that we were doing the other day, right, where as a part of that Pavarti's promise of not only realizing that is, yes, our birthright, because we're here, I really genuinely believe that we are all here to create and live good lives, not a constant struggle from like birth till death. And so this concept of abundance then, to bring it back, and how, at least for me, how I visualize it for me and tapping into that is in meditation, starting to picture my body becoming a basket, like a weaving basket, right? Where then that basket at the same time is being filled with water, where I am not only filling the basket with water, but creating the basket all at the same time. Which from a metaphysical or metaphorical standpoint might seem like that's doing too many things at once. How is that possible? But just think of how often we hear about people multitasking all of the time, right? People are constantly multitasking. So our brains are more than capable of focusing or conceptualizing being and doing more than one thing at a time. So it's just very similar to that, almost, of that body becoming the container and refilling itself. In an IT standpoint, from that background, like you said, it's similar to a closed loop system where it is a self-sufficient system. And if the water is representative more of abundance, the energy of abundance and flow of that, then it just replenishes itself, right? Now, and that's not to say that there are not days and times, could be days, could be weeks, that are challenging, and it feels like that flow is restricted and blocked. And in that case, that's the feeling, but knowing that we are not our feelings, right? We feel that's where, at least for me, a part of belief starts to take over, of just because I may not feel abundant in this moment does not mean that that existence has stopped. And that closed loop system has stopped working just because I'm not feeling it. We don't always need things to, I don't know, maybe that's the paradox. Sometimes we do need to be able to see that things are still working in order to believe in them, but believing in is what keeps at least the abundance flowing, even whenever it seems like it may not be. I don't know if that's making any sense or not, but
Can I ask a question?
yeah.
So for somebody who wants to bring that concept into their personal life, somebody who wants to apply, do you focus on building a bigger basket, or just wait for more, or building the bigger energy so that you can then build the basket bigger? Like, what comes first? And does one attract the other or cause the other?
If the basket hasn't been weaved yet, to hold that belief that whether it's I myself am abundant, or abundance is an energy, a frequency, just something that is a part of my being, as a part of my human existence, is my birthright that I can tap into, whether it's starting with the beginning of building the basket or expanding the basket. I think it just comes down to believing, right? Because I could sit here and say to anyone, your birthright is to live an abundant life. And you get to define what that means for you, what abundance means for you, and then bring that in. But if that person doesn't believe in that for themselves, like weaving a basket that has some holes missing, or sailing a ship but not patching the holes so that the water doesn't seep out, where that belief in self is going to naturally be that, almost like the mechanism for generating more. It is self-generating, but it's also an experience to feel in the body, not just like mantras are a great way. I like writing things. I'll get some like lipstick from the dollar store and I'll put stuff on my mirror. And so that way when I'm brushing my teeth at night, I've got like my nightly affirmation. And I've done that in terms of different abundance mantras. I think one example that I could give is abundance is my birthright. Love is my birthright. I attract all of this to me, or I resonate with this, right? Depending on how big of a mirror you have, maybe you find like some version of that. And for me, that's what works, because part of the belief comes from not only seeing, whether it be a mantra or whether it be a prayer or a poem, whatever that is for someone, identifying with what feels right in their body. And by right to the individual, you'll know it's like those words or phrases or lyrics that just hit you, and then repeating that. But repeating it out loud is a big thing too, because then you're utilizing your gift of vibration, the vibration of your voice that's speaking to not only your body, but really, again, from a soul perspective, speaking that out loud helps to just build more of that. I resonate with, I'm here to live abundantly. And even if saying that takes 100, 200, 1,000, 10,000 times, at some point, speaking that not only into existence, but using our voice for the vibration of speaking that truth wakes our soul up in a sense, because our souls know that's true. The way that we've been conditioned to think for so many different reasons, wherever we grew up, society, culturally, right, has really been the opposite of what's true. Right. So along with that same idea, whether it be an affirmation that we speak, utilizing our voice sends out vibrations just like the radio waves do. It broadcasts out into our environment. It broadcasts out into our home, right? Into our, I guess it does into existence. And then our soul hears that and knows it's true. So then we then get this extra magical support from our soul, higher self, whatever name or no name people want to attribute it to. And that brings that energy in. So that's a very simple, powerful way. It's just like when we go to the meditation group place and Kevin hands out the affirmations on paper, right? Or speaking those. It's a start to call in that energy, but then also for, let's say, nervous system, our cognitive functioning, like our brain, our thought patterns, our process, our heart, our feelings, to catch up with the affirmation. Because that affirmation itself, and again, using the example of living abundantly is my birthright, is so true. And our soul knows it's true immediately. It takes time to recondition and pattern the thought processes, our nervous system, our feeling, our hearts, to have that same experience that a higher being already knows is true. Because believing is just in repeating certain affirmations as thoughts. Yes, that sends that vibrational resonance out there for that to pull in that energy, but it's also feeling that energy in our body. Because the more our nervous systems are relaxed, and not just relaxed, but not in flight or fight, but that ventral vagal. There's a whole, we can do a whole different video. There's some charts. It's basically a bell curve, right? Flight, fight, and freeze are all just these very survival-based modes, or I'm going to go with modes right now because words are hard when I'm getting into all of this. Experiences for our body, but then a true relaxed, curious, calm nervous system has the capacity to hold more of any energy, love, abundance, desire, creativity, compassion, empathy, all of the beauty that there is out there, right? But it's very challenging to tap into those when or if our bodies are in a state, fight, flight, and freeze, all that. So all that to say, I hope that answered the question, at least, of the container, how to maybe go about building the container. And also, again, more of that self closed loop system. Maybe next time I can do a little bit more research and use some more technical terms. I should have done, well, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Right now in this moment, I didn't do that before this, answering these questions. But that energy keeps refilling, right? It'll keep replenishing. It's just a matter of just starting the build, starting the weave to hold the basket, to hold it.
So if I was the person that wanted to start at, I think I heard you say about starting with mantras, right?
Yeah.
Writing things and putting them in somewhere where you're going to see them in the morning. What else? What other, and speaking out loud, I already mentioned that. What other tips did you give a beginner to begin claiming their birthright of abundance?
Just sit for 5 minutes in meditation and say those mantras. Take out your phone, do a voice recording, record 10 different mantras, and have it play on a loop over and over for 5 minutes. One, that's going to be you're still hearing your voice resonate out into your field, but in a different way, because in that moment, you're sitting, the you is still sitting there in silence, not talking technically, listening to yourself. And that's building up that belief in your field of that abundance. That is your birth, number one. But then number two, it gives a bit more of that ability to practice meditation without being completely silent. Because a lot of times quieting the mind is always going to, that's everyone's biggest thing of not being able to sit there for too long. It doesn't have to be a long time. You don't have to sit there for 2 hours. And if I would say someone has challenges, or if they challenges in listening to recording their own voice and listening back to that, then that's an even more beautiful practice, because with curiosity, that actually opens up, I think, a really deep question for anyone who may have that resistance to, I don't want to sit there and listen to my voice because I don't like my voice. I would encourage that with curiosity of, what is the resistance being had or held to such a beautiful tool and instrument that each of us come with that carries its own vibration? And is it possible that you may be hearing yourself from a place of judgment of the self? Because we all sound different to ourselves versus each other. But also it opens up a whole nother, almost like a whole nother wormhole or layer of curiosities of really being loving and kind and compassionate and accepting of ourselves. And that in itself is a humongous practice of more abundance, because how can we hold more abundance if we can't even accept ourselves as we are?
Yes.
And part of that starts with our voice. No matter how that may sound, it's a part of us. So not denying the parts of us is another doorway towards more abundance. So it's all just about those curiosities, right? So I think doing the voice recording, sitting there for 5 minutes, seeing what comes up or what doesn't come up is a really beautiful way, but really just staying curious as much as possible. And if anyone finds themselves in a loop of self-judgment or criticism, as much as possible, just reminding or saying to oneself, I know I've said this to myself a lot, okay, caught myself doing it again, but you know what? I forgive myself. I'm learning. I'm here to learn. And so I can love more. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I think that maybe be it. But I feel like that was probably really good for someone who was like deadly afraid of doing this. I don't even know what I was so afraid of. So I want to say thank you to you for encouraging me to do this, because there really was nothing to be afraid of. And no, this is really lovely. But it is getting cold, so I think we should go, because I would like to get back and get a jacket. But I guess until, I don't know where this is going or where this is going to show up, but I'm Alexandra. Behind the camera is Fernando. Thank you.